In this presentation, we are going to discuss the modern family. What characterizes the late modern family and why is the family like this? We're also going to look at the socialization of children. A characteristic of the late modern family is individualization. Generally, the modern family forms the framework of an individual life. You're establishing a personality and an identity in the family. Intimacy is no longer a core value. You don't spend that much time together. It's more being on your own, and that can be a negative outcome. It's more like a service institute. You get provided food, and you can get a ride somewhere, and you have sleep. There's nothing like intimacy to like make a reference to what I just talked about. The structure is completely changed, and you can say that it's more complex. The marriage is today also really often in divorce. 48% of all marriages in Denmark ends in divorce. There's focus on yourself, the me, which is who you're created by from society, and the focus is more on love.
In its own right, traditional values simply means the values coming from tradition. Let's say, traditionally, a man would go to work to provide money for the family, as the wife stays at home, cleaning, cooking, and taking care of the kids. However, when we talk about modern norms of values, it differs a lot from the traditional ways. As time goes by, traditions change, influences that change people and their way of thinking happen, and stereotypical fashions change everybody's point of view. Modern norms and values are much more liberal regarding the traditional ones. Back to my other example, in the modern norms and values, the father works, the mother works, and if they have children, they spend little time together, either because social life or because they are too busy for their parents. Religion influences traditional norms and values much more than it influences modern values.
In the late modern family, traditions are not necessary, or so to speak, there are no bounds or string attached. One can choose to be or not be part of the family. There's a lot of freedom of expressions and room for change and flexibility. Also, there's a lot of focus on the word choice, and it's also it's fuck it. Shit. Can you edit some of it out? Okay, back to where I was. Choice is a key word when the late modern family is involved. The parents and kids likewise get to choose their futures without interferences or anyone withholding them. And in most cases, children get the freedom of choice from a very young age. The late modern family is often traditionalized. Tradition is often reduced or in some cases completely forgotten, and they are not obliged to uphold these traditions. And they can easily break away from the old-fashioned ways and start doing things their own way.
Why and how did the family change? Industrialization. The family in this period changed because of the economy needs. The industrial family is more like a small family, totally different from what we were used to see before. Because in the countryside, more generations of the same family were living in the same place and also different families in the same house. The role of the man and woman slowly changed. By the way, the woman still worked at home, supporting the outside job of the father. But we are going to the gender equality and a kind of inequality between parents and sons. Now we're going to talk about communication. In the past years, there have been important mutations inside the families because of the new communication system. For example, less births, aging of the population, and raising in immigration. Or in social ambit, we can see growing unstable jobs and more young people without a work. This leads to family diversification, with always younger mothers and single people living alone and remade family because of the growing divorces. This new way of communication led to the creation of private space from the rest of the house, different from any other spaces inside it. The parents that are becoming scared about what could happen in the streets, so they try to keep their son inside with them, and this leads to having rooms with always more electronic devices.
Dual socialization. The pronounced change in the functions of the nuclear family has major significance for the socialization of the children with two parents, who both have full-time jobs. The existence of the family is dependent on a childcare outside the family. Parents therefore have to accept that other social institutions have a function in relation to the socialization of the individual child. The childcare is now divided between parents and institutions of the welfare state. This means that the primary socialization in modern society has changed radically. In this context, we are talking about dual socialization. The parents do not longer have the only and perhaps most important role as educator in relation to the children. In modern society, this role has to be shared with the government-employed social educators.